Hi, I'm Lauren and welcome back to my craft room. Today I am hopping along with Team Tiny for our Team Tiny Halloween Hop, where we are bringing you Halloween inspired projects. I'm excited to share what I made for you right after this. For my Halloween inspired project today, I am making 5 lunch notes to put in my daughter's lunches for next week for the week of Halloween. I am using Lawn Fawn's outside in stitch pumpkin dies to create these 5 different lunch notes. And for the first lunch note, I'm just using them in the traditional sense of creating a jack-o'-lantern. Just a cute jack-o'-lantern as the die was originally made to be used, with the stem, the leaf, the little swirly vine, and the cute little jack-o'-lantern face. So that is lunch note idea number 1. For the second one, I thought it would be cute to also use the cute Cobweb die set along with this pumpkin die. And I've die cut the spider web in some gray cardstock and the spider in black. And I'm going to be putting those on along with the stem, the leaf, and vine. And then this cute little spider is going to be placed on. Now the spider does have die cut into it a little happy face, so little eyes and mouth. And I didn't really want the background shining through. I wanted it to look like a whole spider. So I just cut a little bit of white cardstock, and I trimmed it into a little bit of an oval shape to fit behind that spider. And I'm going to use my wet glue to adhere that spider down to my pumpkin. And this is another just simple idea for lunch note number 2. Again, all using dies. So now for my third and fourth and fifth pumpkins, I'm going to be stamping some images. So I've already stamped out these images in VersaFine black ink and embossed it with some detail clear embossing powder. And I'm using my new Zig Clean Color brush watercolor pens to add color to my images. I really like embossing my images before doing this because it helps keep the water inside the lines and I'm not making a giant watercolor painting mess. So I've used different colors to color my images. The first one is this brown color that I'm coloring in this little wiener dog, but she kind of looks like our pet Rosie, so I'm excited to color her the same color that Rosie is. And because Rosie is a little bit of a pain in the butt, I thought I would make her a really cute witch costume. So I'm coloring the hat and the skirt in black, and I have the little accent of the hat in purple. And I thought to tie in that purple a little more, I would color in the little jack-o'-lantern treat box in the purple as well. And I added a little bit of a cream color to the bone tree inside and used pink just to add a little bit of cheeks to my little Rosie here once that brown watercolor was dry. I put my images through my brother's scan and cut to trim them out, and I'm going to use my retractable knife to cut inside of the treat bag. Now I left a little bit of white space when cutting around the handle of my little trick-or-treat bucket here because I didn't want to risk accidentally cutting all the way through. So I'm going to use one of my watercolor markers in orange that will be pretty darn close to the orange of my pumpkin, so you can't really tell. That way there is, that similarity between all my images that they are cut and there is no white showing. So now I'm gluing my pumpkin together again with my stem, my leaf, and my swirly vine. And then I am going to pop up these cute little critters. There's only one. My cute little dog and all her little accessories. I do add a little bit of white gel pen just because I like to add that highlight to give my images a little bit of dimension because I use a watercolor and not my alcohol markers. I'm still learning how to use them and shading, so I thought the highlight would help give that dimension back. And I glued the skirt and the hat onto my little Rosie here, and I'm popping her up with my Stampin' Up! Dimensionals and I'm going to place her onto the pumpkin. I decide to pop up my little treat bag so it looks like Rosie's holding her little jack-o'-lantern bucket in her mouth. So I'm popping those up, and then I'm going to put a little bit of wet glue on the mouth and use a clear block to hold that treat bag or bucket in place while it dries. I have this really fun Halloween mix of sequins from Crescent Creations, an Etsy shop of one of my fellow Lawn Fawn hoppers, and I will have a link to her shop below. And she has this really cute Halloween mix, so I'm picking out some of the purple sequins from the mix, and I noticed that there's this cute little tiny itty bitty bat, which I'm sure no one will notice, but I glued a tiny little itty bitty bat onto the hat of my cute little Rosie Witch. And for the fourth pumpkin, I decided to add some silver silk to the pumpkin, and I had already stamped and colored using my Zig watercolor pens these cute images from the stamp set Spooktacular. I have the cat and the ghost and my little gravestone, and I already colored them in and gave them cute little pink cheeks, and I'm going to cut them out on my Brother Scan and Cut as well. So I glued on the stem, the leaf, and the little swirly vine, and now I'm going to add my images after adding, of course, my white gel pen to give it some dimension. And I want my ghost to look like he has come out of the gravestone to pet this little kitty cat, right? Because who can't pet a kitty cat? Well, unless you're me. I'm very allergic. I stay away from cats at all times. But I mean, everyone likes petting little cutesy animals, right? So this little ghost is coming out to say hello to this cute little black cat and give him some nice little pets. So my tombstone is glued down and my cat and my ghost are popped up. Now for the last one. This one was a little bit of a pain. I was trying to think of how to put candy corn on this last pumpkin because my daughter is currently obsessed with candy corn. It's sugar, so of course, right? So I cut another pumpkin out of my media paper. Everything that I'm coloring on with my Zig markers is from a mixed media paper book thing. It's this giant paper book thing I got at Michael's. It was on sale. I rip out large pages from my book and cut them down for use. So I die cut the pumpkin out, and I'm going to be using the candy corn stamp set from the How You Bean candy corn add-on. And I'm stamping my image in the VersaFine black ink, and I accidentally double stamp. It's kind of hard to tell, thank goodness, but I was so sad. I was like, dang, well, I'm just going to keep on going and see how it turns out, and I can always, make another one and not show you guys this mistake. But I double stamped, but it's okay. So I added my clear detail and embossed it off camera. And so now I made little masks for the sides out of some Post-it notes so I can add more candy corn to the side. So I double up on my magnets here, make sure my mask is in place, stamp it, and I noticed I didn't stamp all the way, so I did it again, and it double stamped again. I was like, what is happening? I have this Misty. I'm not supposed to be double stamping, but it's happening. So I go ahead and add that clear embossing powder and emboss it with my heat gun off camera, and I'm going to do the other side. We're just going to finish it up. We're going for it. So again, VersaFine, stamp once, something didn't stamp right, and it double stamped again. But this time I noticed that my paper moved inside of my Misty. So I definitely would recommend making sure if you're using paper underneath your stamped images, use lots of magnets. Keep that stuff in place. So now that everything is embossed, I use my Zig markers to color my candy corn. Always remember that yellow is on the bottom, orange is in the middle, and white is on top. It's not an ombre color order. So now that I have that done and it's dry, I am cutting around the edge of my candy corn. So even though everything double stamped, it actually doesn't look that bad. And it's, it double stamped every time. It's very consistent. And because I embossed it, I think you just really can't tell. They're just a little bit thicker line than normal. So I'm gonna pop this up onto my pumpkin. So I'm using lots of dimensionals in small and regular size, peeling off that release backing. And before I put it on, I was like, you know what? I think I need some yellow silk on this pumpkin. So I sprinkled some yellow silk, but I'm super impatient and I don't want to wait for it to dry. So I used my heat gun to heat it up to dry those little spots. And I think I dulled the color a little too much. So if you have the time and you're using that yellow silk, just let it sit, give it a minute. I was impatient, but I think that yellow would have popped a lot more if I just let it sit and do its thing. So now I glue on my stem, my leaf, my little swirly vine, and I'm really happy with this cute little candy corn pumpkin. So here are my 5 little lunch notes. Nothing complex because they do go on my daughter's lunch pail and get slightly destroyed. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to click that hashtag and hop along. Have a great day.